Ally Bank, about 2.5 weeks ago, turned off my card. And I'd had some hacking attempts in recent history. So I just kind of assumed that my card was shut off. And so I spent about 2.5 hours on the phone with Ally. This was approximately like 2.5, 3 weeks ago. So what was it? The end of February, last week of February. So I spent 2 hours on the phone to get my account unlocked. Got the account unlocked, made my purchase at that time, came home. I had received a check from a nice old couple up the street. They were looking for somebody to come help them pressure wash their driveway. They're both semi-disabled, so I did it. And they insisted I take money for it. I said not to worry about it, but they wrote me a check for $200, and I hadn't deposited a check in a while, so I used my Ally banking app to deposit the check and think nothing of it. It was a $200 check, done it 100 times. So after that, 48 hours goes by, and I had a good friend of mine who was sending me some cash, and he sent us a $1,000 Zelle payment. Well, this is where funny stuff started to take place. Now, granted, this is before the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank. So I don't know if these things are coincidental, tied together, conspiracy or not, but all I have to say is something's happening fast. So that Zelle doesn't go through on his end or my end, so we both start investigating. I get a hold of somebody at the bank again, spend another hour and a half on the phone. They're obviously getting a bunch of calls because usually Ally picks up the phone in about 2 or 3 minutes. So during this period, there was extraordinarily long wait times. So I get on the phone with somebody again, talk through it again, and they're stumped. So what they eventually end up telling me is my case has to be referred to what's called the investigations department. That's usually a department at a bank that digs a little deeper, can figure out what people are doing, that type of thing. So I asked when I'd be able to speak to an investigator. This was a Friday, no less, and the following Monday was a holiday. So what they told me was an investigator would be getting back to me when they returned to work after the holiday, meaning no access to my account Saturday, no access to my account Sunday, and no access to my account Monday. Well, Monday rolls around. I call again. This time it goes right through. I get through to somebody and I just ask for an investigator. Tell them kind of briefly what's going on so they connect me with an investigator. This investigator gets on the phone, and this is where it gets really weird. So, the investigator gets on the phone with me, and I immediately launch into questions. My first question is, what happened? Did I get hacked? Or no, I think I said, did I get hacked again? Because I had just previously, 4 days previous, 5 days previous, had my account unlocked. They didn't give me any information. I made the comment that one of the people I spoke to the previous Friday had made a mention about a potential check fraud. I went, excuse me? I cashed a check or deposited a check that I got from a very sweet elderly couple up the street that lives in a $2 million house. I doubt they're writing bad checks. So after hearing that from him, I essentially went, what was wrong with the check? You know what he said to me? He said, why don't you go and ask the people who wrote you the check? So he didn't even tell me what it was. Then I was accused of fraudulent Zelle transactions. I again asked him, what Zelle transactions? Can you please tell me what Zelle transactions? I have not seen any discrepancies in my account, nor have I been Zelling with anybody else other than maybe my dad, my ex-wife, and a friend of mine. And it was very limited Zelle transactions. But anyway, the bottom line of this story is Ally Bank completely took my account away. Said, I am no longer allowed to bank at Ally. Not only did they not give me a reason, but they basically made me feel as if Ally Bank could potentially be a scam. I called back again because as soon as I got off the phone with them, the day I spoke to the investigator, I asked him if I could leave a message for his manager. It took me about 5 minutes to convince him to just connect me to his manager's voicemail. Not 30 seconds after leaving a message for his manager and hanging up the phone, the Zelle transaction went through. Notified me on my phone, notified me on my buddy's phone. Something fishy was going on. And what was it? 2 weeks later, Silicon Valley Bank collapses? Folks, be very careful. If you have any money with Ally Bank, I suggest moving it. It's just from experience, seeing what I saw, seeing what's happening in the banking sector. I first got my securities license in 1999. We've been here before and it's going to get ugly. Be careful out there.